My name is Jacob, and welcome to another raw and uncut section on the Abrasive Conversation platform. Today, in this particular segment, I want to speak about presidents. I don't know if you have noticed, but this past week was a very interesting period for presidents in the world. So those of you who closely follow the news might be aware that the Japanese Prime Minister, former president, was shot and killed by a member of the public. Apparently, this member of public, the president was responsible for this member of public's mother's bankruptcy. So he apparently planned the attack for months and then executed. He's into custody, so he wasn't killed. So this is some of the information that is coming out from Japan. In England, Boris Johnson have stepped down. He announced his resignation, and for those of you who are not aware, this came after months of scandal and trying to continue to be the Prime Minister in England. He survived, I think, 2 motions of no confidence. But this week, another scandal hit, and this was because someone close to him and his government was accused of inappropriate behavior, groping men in particular. And thereafter, a number of ministers in his cabinet decided to step down. The pressure was so severe that eventually, even within a conservative party, it was decided that the best thing to do for him was to resign. So he resigned. So England is currently in a transition period. In the other parts of the world, especially in Sri Lanka, the president of Sri Lanka and the prime minister of Sri Lanka have fled the country, apparently, because what happened was that over the past couple of months, the economic woes of that particular country became so extreme that citizens were finally fed up, and they decided to chase the 2 of them out of the country. So they stormed the president's house in Sri Lanka, and they even burned down the prime minister's private residence. Speaking about presidents, even here in South Africa, the bad publicity for our president, Cyril Ramaphosa, is continuing. This week, he attended the funeral of the unfortunate incident where 21 youngsters lost their lives in Eastern Cape in the Enyobeni Tavern. And during that particular funeral, our president was so tired that he took a nap. So this was captured on camera and was shared on social media. Some have made fun of this particular incident, but I do not see the funny in this particular moment. I think it was very disrespectful towards the families that was affected by this particular tragedy. Some of his people came out and spin it and say that he was in deep prayer and he was in deep sadness, but I do not believe it. To make matters worse for our president, apparently that specific funeral was a fake funeral. The EFF in the Eastern Cape came out and say is that how can you waste the public money on a fake funeral? And it helped me to think about why would the president and his supporters have a funeral like that? And the only answer I could come to was that our president needed good publicity desperately. And the only way to redeem his particular image was to attend this particular funeral. But unfortunately, it backfired. He fell asleep, and people realized that those coffins were empty, that many of those children, two of the children before that particular funeral was already buried. So it was a publicity stunt. So why would the ANC-led government in the Eastern Cape and Cyril Ramaphosa risk a fake funeral to make matters even more dire for the president's image that is currently that is in the media? So their particular positive campaign backfired. It didn't work out. But the reason for this particular segment is, especially on presidents, is just to show that these strong men across the world over, once they get a grasp or just sniff that specific power, they become intoxicated by this power, and they don't think that that there's life after them. But unfortunately, as we saw in the case of Sri Lanka, and it's not the first incident in the world where the president was chased away. It happens the world over. But sometimes when these powerful men, they get into power, they forget that one day the people will come for them. The people will hold them accountable for the things that they promises and on the things that they didn't deliver. So we also saw that in South Africa with the whole Jacob Zuma, 2 terms of Jacob Zuma in South Africa. The Jacob Zuma and his supporters were so arrogant, and they thought that the sun will never set on the Jacob Zuma reign. And the Jacob Zuma reign came to an end. He's currently, he was imprisoned, he's currently out on parole, and I think soon he will still have to go back to prison to finish his particular sentence. So these things happen to very powerful men, and there's a lesson hidden in what we saw with presidents happening this week, is when you are there to serve the people, you get a salary already, you get so much benefits from the public already. So there's no need to enrich yourself further and click around you, because the people are watching. The people are not as stupid as these people are thinking of. So the people who will put you on a pedestal, and it will also be the people who will take you off that particular pedestal. So I hope this is a warning for our particular president and the people in his government that is so arrogant. The sun someday will set on your reign, and the people who you look down on and who you don't care about, they will rise and they will take power from you, and they will instill another person. And if that person doesn't want to do it, they will remove that person always. So that is just the brutal reality of politics. Powerful leaders come and go. So this is the end of my particular segment on presidents. I hope you enjoy it, and until we see each other again, may God bless. Bye-bye.